So we're just setting that up, and we'll be ready to start this webinar then. Good morning, I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. Welcome to our webinar today, and I look forward to being able to communicate with you on a range of issues. I'm just trying to get this screen. Okay, so what we're talking about today is the advisory intro product package, which is presented by ESS BIZTOOLS. It is targeted at bookkeepers and accounting firms who are wanting to get involved in the delivery of advisory services to your clients. So on the screen, we've got the advisory intro product package, which...
Welcome to Playlists. Now you can easily stitch multiple videos into a single stream, creating an engaging live series for your viewers. So let's see how easy it is to create your first playlist in Restream. From the home page, first click on Stream a Playlist. Select all the videos you'd like to feature.
Then to stop this and start again. Hopefully you're still with us. Thank you. We are trying to do a live feed, and social mediums I seem to double cross onto something else then. So let's get started. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. What we're here today is to look at the advisory intro package, which we have developed, targeted at bookkeepers and accountancy firms who have heard about advisory services and are interested in presenting it. We've been in this space for a long time, producing material primarily for accounting firms and some business consultants all over Australia and in New Zealand, who use our products to assist them to deliver advisory services. It saves you hundreds of hours in developing your own material. So this material is targeted at SMEs, charities, not-for-profits, and sporting organisations. If you have any questions during this presentation, can you please type your question into the chat box, and I will answer them during the webinar. So why is this package important? Well, I think it helps improve your client's business operations, and it will assist a client who is wanting to scale up their business. Now, not everyone wants to scale up on a major way, but someone just going from a $600,000 turnover to $1 million, that $400,000 increase in revenue, is undoubtedly scaling up. And everyone that's on that journey needs assistance from an accountant or a bookkeeper to make sure they're taking every account into play to see what the impact of it's going to be, and that they're getting regular feedback of information, not just at the end of the financial year. The way ESS BIZTOOLS is set up, we have 4 steps. The first step is going to be the advisory intro package, so that's level 1, and the other packages follow on, so that by the time you get to our level 4 package, it includes everything within ESS BIZTOOLS. So we think it will assist you to offer advisory services. But one of the very big points is that it will generate interesting and challenging work for your team talent. And I think this is very important. Virtually every accountant that I talk to that's a partner or a senior manager in a firm indicates to me that they're having trouble with the recruitment and retention of team members. And of course, it will also generate additional fee revenue from a diversified range of services that I think the importance of is going to grow and grow as the years pass by, as the tax office introduces more software and computer technologies, and as SMEs gain confidence that accountants in public practice can help in this way, just as you would if you were working as an accountant or a chief financial officer in a larger businesses. So I've told you what the advisory intro package is about, so we'll move on. We then move, the next step is the starter package. This package is also directly targeted at bookkeepers and accountants who are wanting to undertake some advisory services, see what's involved. The next step is the advanced product package, primarily designed for accountancy firms, but we have some bookkeepers who are subscribing to this package. It brings in more corporate governance. It brings in detailed product packages to assist in capital raising, as crowdsource funding, equity raising, or early stage innovation companies, or Section 708 of the Corporations Act. It also introduces the Chief Financial Officer services. I was a Chief Financial Officer and Company Secretary of a listed public company, so I have seen both sides of the accounting equation when it comes to rendering services. Obviously, we were a big company, but what I discovered in that position was that big companies really operate themselves as a series of small businesses. They appoint an area manager, and an area manager has an accountant. That's where I started in that organisation. And there were clerical staff to look after the debtors. We did our own payroll, looked after our own inventory, of course, which was quite substantial, and prepared our own monthly financial accounts. But each week we produced a weekly performance report and a profitability estimate. And we were expected to be at least 98% accurate in that profitability estimate. And that was the key document that the managers and the area manager supervised what was happening in the businesses under his control. And that information all got passed through to head office. And a few years later, I was in that head office position as the Chief Financial Officer. So we had the results coming in from over 400 business units by Wednesday morning of each week. That meant that at lunchtime on a Wednesday, I could sit down with the CEO and go through the results. And anyone that was diverting from his expectations of what the results would have been for that previous week was receiving phone calls in the afternoon from him. Compare that to what happens with your own clients. Are they getting that sort of input? Is someone sitting down and preparing financial results? This is what the advanced package will allow you to do. Years later, I found that Woolworths in particular, and I know Coles and IGA stores all have similar systems. The senior manager of a Woolworths store that had 42 departments told me that he had results from Monday afternoon, the rest on Tuesday morning for the trading up until the Sunday. And he was able to sit down with those key people, these managers of each of those departments, and analyse their results. Look at a Woolworths store. It's not all mass groceries, is it? It's got butcher shop areas, it's got seafood, it's got bread, it's got all sorts of products that probably within 50 meters of the store is a small business trying to sell similar products. Does that small business that's running a butcher shop or a delicatessen or a food pastry bakery type business, are they getting this sort of reports each week? I don't think so. And this is the challenge for accountants to be able to assist them to deliver. The final package is the financial forecasting package, which includes everything within ESS BIZTOOLS, together with some additional material on board of directors and board of advice meetings and chief financial officer duties. But it also includes a 12-month subscription to the Plan Guru software. Plan Guru software was developed by an American accountant, and his son now runs that business. And it enables the projections to go through the projected balance sheets and includes the key indicators of the business, looking at debtors, creditors, inventory, work in progress, all these variable items that are part of the budgets and cash flow functions. So I think in lots of ways people forget about. And it also includes some training by Paul Barnaby, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, and a walking encyclopedia on predictive accounting processes to become a certified predictive accountant. So that's all part of that package, which really does embrace everything we can think of at this stage that would go into an accounting firm or a bookkeeping firm. And we do have two bookkeeping firms as subscribers to the financial forecasting package. So it's not restricted just to accountants. So the preparation for advisory delivery, we're back now talking about the level 1 of these 4 steps of the process, but some firms go straight through to the level 2, which is the starter package. And obviously some go straight through to the other levels 3 and 4. But we want to look at the SME needs analysis. In our previous broadcast for the advisory intro package, we have spent some time on SME needs analysis. I wasn't going to do that today unless you specifically want it, and can you indicate that in the chat, please? We talked about the library of articles. There are 340 pre-prepared articles, which we will have a look at in a moment. There's the Business Plus newsletter, which we also will show you. The final system includes a client profile form, which has been designed to prompt you to be able to offer information to the client. And I believe this is very important if bookkeepers and accountants who have not previously offered advisory services are going to start to do so. By example, when you complete the client profile form, it will ask what sort of business the client is operating. And if they've indicated that they are a tradie, one of the questions that's going to be asked to them, for you to ask them, or prompts for you to ask your client, is how do they set their charge out rates? In my experience, I found that a lot of people virtually toss a coin or listen to competitors talking in a pub or a club and try to find out what charge out rates they might be using, or just pick a figure and see how they go. We have developed a charge out rate calculator, which is proving very popular for some accounting firms who are using it. Indeed, one of our subscribers has now got 120 tradies utilising his services. And the package with them is that they all have to go through the annual charge out rate calculator process. They also have to agree that they're going to have monthly financial accounts prepared and a weekly report prepared. Now, it doesn't mean that the accounting firm's doing all this work. They set the system up, they train someone in the tradies business to do some of the work, but they generally supervise it. And it is proving to be a very successful business venture for that particular accountant. There are thousands of tradies in Australia, and I think there's probably thousands of them who are not receiving that type of service. So it's a great opportunity. The client profile form could ask, are you offering services to overseas residents? You might be a organisation that's supplying trips to the Barrier Reef or trips to other scenic attractions in Australia, to the centre, to Alice Springs, or to Uluru, or other places, and you're promoting your services, therefore spending money, to overseas residents. That's claimable under the Export Market Development Grant, and the system will prompt you to say you can talk to them about the Export Market Development Grant. In lots of cases, those businesses have never thought of themselves in an exporter terminology, but the legislation allows them to make a claim. They could claim up to $720,000 over a 3-year period if they wished. Admittedly, they've got to match all that, and they've got to pay the money up front first, but it's a way that it can work. We also have SME mentoring and coaching resources. This is material which we're prepared to assist you to be able to communicate with your clients and send information to them. Because I believe the biggest challenge that bookkeepers and accountants have got is educating your clients on the type of services that you could provide to them. Because for accountants in public practice and for bookkeepers, I think there's a stereotype image being developed by a lot of clients over the years that all that accountants do is income tax returns. Now, that's not true. I know that. The market doesn't really fully appreciate it. And this is part of the communication process that we need to be doing. One of the big challenges when we start offering advisory services is, I think, accountants and bookkeepers need to know more information about the client than what you might currently know. Some people get a bit surprised when I make that statement to them, but think about it. If you're the accounting firm that's preparing an annual set of accounts, that's really all that you're worried about, isn't it? And then through to the tax return, as long as everything looks right and balances, that's okay. And if you're the bookkeeping firm and you're writing up or posting the cash books and entries and doing bank reconciliations and producing a set of accounts which probably get passed through to the accounting firm at the end of the year, but you've got them each month. Are you satisfied that everything's working okay? Could you be offering a chief financial officer type service? Now, if you were the chief financial officer, you'd be very concerned about internal security. What are the risks in this business? Are we receiving everything that we're paying for? It needs to be a key question that a chief financial officer has. Are the assets all protected? Is there appropriate internal control in the business? Can we document the flow of money and make sure that we're monitoring it at every stage? These are some of the questions that come into play when you think about having an understanding that is 1 inch wide but a mile deep, really knowing your client's business. And I honestly believe, and having been the senior partner of an accounting firm, I think I got close to having that sort of understanding to a few clients, but many clients, we accepted what was sent in. We were not acting as a CFO type person. But if we're going to try to develop services, and that's what we're trying to assist you to do at ESS BIZTOOLS, try to develop services that are akin to you supplying a virtual CFO service to your clients. We honestly believe you need to know a lot more about the client's business, and we have developed checklists and survey forms to assist you on that, and we have proposals and quotation forms in the overall system. In this package, we're going to introduce you to predictive accounting reports. Now, you may already do budgets and cash flow forecasts. That's great. I hope you do projected balance sheets, but we will go through that so that we can look at budgets for each individual operation, the key drivers that I referred to earlier, debtors, creditors, work in progress, etc., the cash flow forecast, and the projected balance sheets. And the real beauty of the projected balance sheets is that you can be the storyteller. You can sit down and go through the whole process with your client and indicate that as long as the budgets are achieved, and you're going to be monitoring them each month to see what variations are occurring and then doing some updates. This is what the position should be in 3 years' time, if that's where you've done the projections to. It gives the client a warm feeling. It tells them, okay, all these extra hours and worry and borrowing money and really debating whether to issue shares to members of the public and raise capital as a crowdsourced funding equity raising company or whatever have been worthwhile if they can look at what all of this should mean in 3 years' time. Now, obviously, the leadership team has got to make sure that all this can be delivered. But that's the challenge, isn't it? Let's think about how big business does that. Big business does it with a team. There's a CEO, general manager, called owner, whatever you want to call that person. But there's then the key people, someone in charge of sales, someone in charge of purchases, someone in charge of the production area, someone in charge of human resources, and there's the accounting function. They've got that team working for them. That's what we envisage you're going to be able to supply to your clients, because the SME industry needs it in Australia. There's too many failures. There was an interesting article in the Financial Review about a month ago now, quoted the CEO of MYOB, who indicated that thousands of people start off with great ideas in businesses. And he said a lot of them have got very good ideas, but after 6 months, they tend to run into a brick wall. And it's called financial management. They haven't understood the cash flow implications of running a business. And they've been getting no reports. That first 6 months, it all just happened and they were happy. There was some money coming in, but then they've discovered they've got thousands of dollars still owed to them, but they've been put on very tight payment terms by major suppliers because they're a new business, and they run out of cash. That's the problem that a lot of our business clients are running into. Hopefully, by being able to assist them more regularly, some of these problems will be eliminated. So the business systems that we're promoting for you is the 52-week business enhancement system. And that includes daily reports. Now, all big companies get daily reports. Yet I'm amazed when I talk to SMEs, what information do they get daily? It's very hazy, the sort of response you get. I think it's part of our role as accountants and for the bookkeepers to talk to the clients and establish what is the key daily information that they've got available. And there's all sorts of information. It can be average sale. It can be number of customers. It can be the percentage change on previous days or their average to the year to date. What's the variation? It could be a yield if they're in a boning room or some sort of production facility and they're starting with something and ending up with a percentage of it. They will have a norm. They'll have a standard. And the key thing is giving them back that information, certifying that it's right, in effect. You know, this is what we achieved yesterday. We achieved a 63% yield. Well, that might sound all right to you and I when I just say 63%. But if the average has been 72%, someone should be asking questions. And the way big business works is to ask those questions that night, next morning, not in a year's time, because no one will know that figure in the year's time. All they'll know is that the income generated by the business over the year was a bit less than what we expected, or was down from the previous year. These things need to be monitored and fixed at the source immediately. And that then flows through, and then the next segment I've got there, weekly profitability reports. I've already indicated to you that in the company I was with, and we were in the meat industry, so we had some very big meat works, which were primarily targeted export market, but retail butcher shops, small goods factories, cold stores, storing facilities, and other activities, about 400 of them. And each week, a weekly performance and profitability report was prepared. And I had found out long before then that that's how the meat industry operated, and so do a lot of other industries. But why don't we make sure it happens to our SME clients as well? Every business should be able to prepare a weekly performance report. And the real benefit is if there's an expectation that the bottom line profit's going to be $1,000 or $2,000, whatever, and it comes in at a loss of $200, or it comes in at a profit of only $150, there should be a explanation. Why did that happen? Now, that is very difficult if you're doing it a month or 2 months after the end of a trading period. It's a lot easier to do if all you're looking at is 1 week's trading activity. The financial accounts, we're looking for financial accounts to be prepared each month. Not going to be that tough. Each month. And the comparison should be made to the budgets so that there's a variation report, that the balance sheet should be closely examined primarily to check the working capital components, debtors, creditors. I find a lot of SMEs really don't know what their debtors' days outstanding are. They haven't really grasped that we should be trying to get everyone at least on 30 days, but sometimes it can be a lot more. It can be 70 days. And that they can do things to try to improve the receipt of cash. There are still people very slow on sending out invoices. This is where it all starts from. No one's going to pay you till they've got an invoice. But some businesses take weeks. And I think if they were your clients and you're the accountant performing this role, not just on an annual basis to do the tax return, you would be sitting down and saying to them, well, we've got to get these invoices out faster. That's number one. Number two, debtor statements. Now, if your clients are still going to issue debtor statements, we should be making sure that they are distributed by email, preferably 48 hours after the end of the month at the latest, not weeks later. I've had a lot to do with clients that are dealing with mining companies, and they sure wake small businesses up, the mining companies, because if they haven't lodged their invoices and all their supporting documentation, normally within about 7 days of their cut-off dates, they won't look at them until the next month. And if there's a problem then, they'll still not look at them for another month. And people complain at times that they're not getting paid. I was running a seminar on corporate governance, of all things, a few years ago for that Oz Industry had hired me to conduct. And we got round to debtors' days outstanding. And someone said to me, well, what do you think it should be? I said, well, most people would say 30 days. He said, oh, well, how do you calculate it? So I explained how you calculate it. And I said, why, what's yours? He said, well, I don't know. And when we calculated, it was 98 days. And I said, well, why is it so high? He said, oh, the mining companies don't pay me. And someone else in the room said, because a lot of them knew one another, but Jim, are you getting your invoices in within 6 days at the end of the trading period like we're supposed to? Oh, I didn't know that, he said. And that was the problem. He wasn't getting his invoices in, so he wasn't getting paid. Now, I think this is part of our problem as accountants if we're advising these clients. Business advisory services says that you would be aware of that, or if you're acting as the bookkeeper and you've got this part of responsibility on your portfolio, making sure these things happen, because these can lead to business failure because the client just got no money. If they could have had money, if they got those debtors' days down. There's other things that come into all this, which obviously our services cover. You would be alerting on funding requirement for the business. This is why we're doing cash flow forecasts. This is why we're trying to get it accurate so you can be communicating. You know, 40 years ago, for the first time, we had Section 708 introduced. I was reminded of that in my mind recently when I read some comments about Paul Keating, because he was the treasurer that introduced what we now know as Section 708. Prior to that, it was very difficult for a private company to raise capital. You virtually had to be related to the person that was investing, or you knew them since kindergarten and it kept contact. You couldn't go out and approach anyone. The law all got changed when 708 was first introduced, and then it got changed a few years later by John Howard when he became the treasurer. And we've now got a system that can generate some cash, but we've since got crowdsourced funding, equity raising, and early stage innovation companies. It's a great area for SMEs to now be able to look at it and say, I want to raise some capital. Now, when the government under Malcolm Turnbull first introduced the concept of crowdsourced funding equity raising in Australia, there were skeptics that said no one will ever invest. Well, they have. There's nearly $350 million been invested, primarily by mum and dad, small business type investors in companies that have raised capital. And I think it could go a lot further. It could go a lot further if the accountant industry really understood it and delivered. And in the ESS BIZTOOLS, we've developed a lot of systems and processes to help you as a subscriber to be able to help your clients to raise capital, utilising the established systems that the government's put in place. Sure, you've got to work through a crowdsourced funding intermediary who's been appointed by ASIC, but it's a system that works, and it's working in the 20 top economies in the world. We were very slow. We were nearly 6 years behind New Zealand getting started on it, but it's there. And you can really be the storyteller to take your client through this process. And we've incorporated all that within ESS BIZTOOLS. Now, what we're doing in the advisory intro package, we give you some introductory material that you can talk to your clients about how they might fund their business. Now, if they're interested in having you do that, you could get further information by upgrading your subscription into the starter package and the advanced package. The advanced package has got everything, but at least you'll be able to have a conversation with your client who says to you, I hear I can raise money from the public. How do I do that? And you will have an article in the system, one of our papers, that you could make available to them. I hope that helps. Government grants is a huge area. There's a new government grant that was released in November, which replaced what had been a very successful government grant called Accelerating Commercialisation, that was in place for about 11 or 12 years. I was actually involved in it when it first started years ago. It's the new grant, which is the Business Improvement Grant, has got funding in some cases of up to $5 million on a 50-50 basis. Now, you have to do a lot of work to get that. But it starts at grants from $50,000 to help people. Now, there are selected industries, but it's a very wide group. And I think a lot of businesses could take advantage of that. Now, they've got to go through an application process. You've got to work with an advisor that's been appointed by Oz Industry. And that's the role that I had years ago. But you, as the accountant or the bookkeeper, have got a lot of work to do to help those clients get through that. If you want to go down that journey and help them, because they're going to need business plans, budgets, cash flow forecasts. They need to have an understanding of how all this works. And in ESS BIZTOOLS, we have all of that material for you, detailed explanation of how this process works. I talked about the tradie business review. So we have a tradie charge out rate calculator. Government grants. One of the most interesting government grants is research and development. You know, I talk to a lot of accountants and bookkeepers during a year at various conferences and in discussions like we're having today. I find that a lot of people don't know much about government grants, a lot of accountants and bookkeepers. I also find a lot don't know anything about the early stage innovation company capital raising process either. Yet these are key areas that are in the main targeted at SMEs. According to an Oz Industry report released about a year ago, they expected that the claim for research and development in the financial year ended 30th of June 2023 would be for actual research and development expenditure of about $5.4 billion. And this was for companies with turnovers under $20 million. The Australian government's small business ombudsman, which is a separate small team that is there to be the communicator of small business issues with the government, put out a report and said on their review, 67% of that expenditure, of that $5.4 billion, was undertaken by the smaller end of the eligible companies. In other words, the ones with turnovers under $20 million. Companies with turnovers over $20 million can also claim the research and development tax rebate, but it's on a different basis. Because for a client and it's got to be a company to claim it, the rebate is calculated at 43% of the R&D expenditure. And if that results in a loss for the company can get it. Sorry, probably should rephrase that. If the company is trading at a loss, and as long as the loss exceeds the calculation of the research and development rebate, the company can apply for that to be paid to them as a cash payment direct into the company's bank account. And the tax office try to make sure that happens within 30 days of the tax return being lodged. So it's a big area. There's a lot of SMEs. Who do they go to? I think they're being forced to go and talk to larger accounting firms, the big four. And is that really what accountants who are servicing SMEs want? I think there's a great opportunity in these areas for bookkeepers and accountants to service clients on some of these activities like research and development. What we've done within the advisory intro package is give you some preliminary information that you can use with your client to answer some questions, to do an explanation like I've just given you. And if the client then says, well, geez, I'd like to go further on this, I'd like to get involved, you can then make a decision. If you're a subscriber to the advisory intro package, Are you going to offer the services? In which case, I'd be suggesting you upgrade your subscription so that you've got the full package, and you'll have that in the advanced package, so that you can help your client right through the journey. But you might decide, well, I'm just going to tell them what it's about and say that they need to go and talk to their accountant or another firm, or one of the big four firms if you're comfortable in doing that. But at least you're part of the decision-making process. Please think about it. I've already talked about the capital raising a couple of times. It's a big area. We have complete packages within the advisory intro package. As I've said before, we're giving information that allows you to answer your client's initial questions. It allows you to be the real advisor in saying, well, have you, when they're talking to you about where they're going to get funding from, you can offer that these services exist and give them the preliminary material. They then want you to act for them for an early stage innovation company capital raising, and you will need to upgrade your package that you're subscribing to have the full resources available. There's a complete system available on buying a business, because that's what happens with a lot of the clients at a basic level. They're buying businesses. They need to understand the traps that are there. Working capital, we briefly mentioned before, debtors is a huge problem for SMEs. We also have material which is an introduction to directors' duties and responsibilities. Again, so that you can answer the questions that the client might ask, so that you can assist them to have an understanding. And that corporate governance might also extend to committee members of charities, not-for-profits and sporting organisations who also have responsibilities. Banks, we've got material on relationships with banks, and we have a summary of duties that you need to carry through with the Australian Securities and Investment Commission. I don't see that I've got any questions. So what I'm going to do now is just go across to our this is a form for debtors management, a procedure control form. In each of our product packages, we have a procedure control form, which will assist in identifying the work that has to be done for a client. Debtors is a huge problem for Australian SMEs, as you probably know, and by being able to undertake a review utilising the forms that we have and the suggestions relating to the debtor system, relating to personal guarantees for directors of companies making an application for credit. What's the debtors policy? It's all geared to trying to make sure that debtors days outstanding is reduced to the lowest possible amount. So that's just a brief overview of a We talked before about mentoring and coaching. This is a sample of a series which we have developed to assist in the purchasing or commencing of a business. So your client would have received, or you could have sent to your client this material: small business overview, pitfalls of starting a business, business setup and purchase, etc., etc. And the forms inviting your clients to give you back a comment as to what they think about the material that's been forwarded to them. What the concept here is to have you recognised by your client as being the source of information for them, which, utilising the ESS BIZTOOLS material, allows you to do so. So hopefully all that helps in trying to identify the key areas that are so important for our clients. I just want to finish up now by giving you a brief overview of the membership subscriptions, the advisory intro package, the upfront subscription for access for all of the material we list as being part of the advisory intro is $900 plus GST, so $990. You get passwords, you get access onto the website, or you can pay in monthly payments of 12 payments of $99, including GST, if you wish. If you're availing yourself of the starter package, the special price available to the 7th of May is a cash upfront payment of $1980, including GST, or 12 monthly payments of $198, including GST. If you're subscribing to the advanced package, the upfront payment is $5,940, or 12 monthly payments of $594. If you're interested in the financial forecasting package, that is a upfront subscription of $10,560, or 12 payments of $1,056. As I indicated earlier, that includes the subscription to the Plan Guru software for the 12 months. And that gives you the ability to utilize that software with 10 of your clients at the same time. Normally that allowance is only for 3 clients, and you pay extra if you want to introduce the software to more people. We have group training, which has been reorganized and commences on 1 May, and that is for each of those product packages. There are 10 training sessions per annum, which will be advertised and promoted, but any subscriber can go to any training package they wish to. You don't have to stick to advisory intro if that's what your subscription level's for. So if you wish to subscribe, please go to www.essbiztools.com.au, go to packages and pricing, and then click on the product package that you have elected to be a subscriber for, and then put in your credit card details, etc., and we will be in contact with you within 24 hours to get you started. If you need more information, please send me a email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or telephone me, and we've changed that number, 0747241118. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've got some information. I hope it encourages you to deliver advisory services to your clients. Stay safe. Have a great day. Goodbye.